Howdy. If I asked you to give me an example of irony, I bet you'd say something like a fire hydrant engulfed in flames, or a pilot having a fear of heights. But I think today's story is quite literally the purest form of irony that I personally have ever come across. On August 1st, a 62-year-old man by the name of Antonio Riano was recently taken into custody 2 decades after he was charged in a 2004 shooting that led to a man being unalived. He allegedly fled the country to escape these charges. And after 20 years of being on the run and out of the country, I'll bet Buddy thought that he was in the clear. Like, at this point, he probably already started a whole new life with family barbecues and, like, I don't know, tuna casserole, whatever. So on August 1st, he was taken into custody and flown back to Cincinnati and then transported to the Butler County Jail, where he remains pending court proceedings. I'm not sure where the case stands as of today, but I'm sure he's going to be facing some severe punishment.
At first, when you pull up his name, it was a shadowed figured face. I start scrolling down. And so I scroll down, that's the visuals, the video I seen. I was like, it's him. Oh my God, it's him.
So Cincinnati's Southern Ohio Fugitive Apprehension Strike Team, or SOFAST, God, that's a mouthful, is a U.S. Marshal Service-led task force consisting of all kinds of different police departments and federal authorities and all parole. It's all there. There's a whole list. I'm not going to read all that off, but it's a lot. All these guys were looking for Antonio, or at least working in the development of the capture of him over the past years. It's been ongoing for a long time now. The Butler County Prosecutor's Office teamed up with the U.S. Marshals Service and the U.S. Department of Justice Office of International Affairs, who worked with law enforcement partners in Mexico to secure the arrest and extradition of Riano. So Riano's trail went cold after U.S. Marshals attempted to capture him in 2006 with a warrant. They tracked him to his mother's house in Mexico, but by the time the U.S. Marshals arrived, Riano was no longer there. The cold case picked up heat in January of 2024 when Butler County prosecutors received its reapplication for the provisional warrant. At the time, Chief Investigator Paul Newton and his team used social media, including Facebook, to track Riano down.
We had all the evidence we needed gathered. Mark Henson.
Per the U.S. Marshals release, Riano had left behind a wife and 3 kids in Hamilton, Ohio. Damn, dude. He left behind his wife and his kids. He did not give a fuck, so he definitely started a new life. Oh yeah. He was just looking for a reason at that point. That was just like the icing on top of the cake. That was just like the creme de la creme, the piece de resistance, you know? Newton said Riano had been the most challenging just in the simple fact that he really dug in and went underground. After the 2006 failed attempt, Newton said Riano moved again, and we really didn't see any evidence of him until 2023.
We've been working on this case probably for the past 7 years, trying to locate him, and I'll actually get a warrant for his arrest in Mexico when we were using Department of Justice and U.S. Marshals to do that. And just doing some subtle background work and trying to do some work until we found out we got the warrant for his arrest.
So now that he's captured, Riano is facing 2 counts of murder and felony assault charges for the December 19th, 2004 shooting of Becerra, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, outside of the Roadhouse bar. Police say they found the gun used in the shooting in a hidden compartment under the kitchen's floor of Riano's apartment in Hamilton with bullets inside of it. That's terrifying. Riano reportedly tried to step in and help a bartender after Becerra was asked to leave the premise since he'd been in part of a fight there a few weeks back. As Riano and Becerra allegedly began to argue, the bartender purportedly asked them to take the dispute outside. Shortly after, gunshots were heard and Becerra was found lying face down on the sidewalk. Surveillance footage at the time showed Riano leaving the scene with the New York Post, but authorities were unable to locate him. Something noteworthy about this story is that it was actually on America's Most Wanted in 2005. You're telling me this man's crimes were displayed on national television and he managed to evade the police for over 20 years in modern times? Like, in today's age of technology, it's hard enough to be on the run for that long, like, generally speaking, but him being on TV is not the icing on top of this cake, guys. No. This man was arrested while working as a damn police officer in his hometown. That has to be the craziest thing I have ever heard. Like, I have no idea what sort of qualification policy this department holds for its officers, but there's no way. Do they not do background checks? Are there no protocols in place for situations like this to ensure that every officer on the force working is not a murderer? Like, oh my God. And I have to wonder about the reactions of the heads up at this police station when they heard about this news. Like, if they didn't know, which I'm sure most of them probably didn't, I don't know, but if they did, do they feel a little silly, to put it slightly. You know, maybe Antonio really took an oath when he became a man of the law. Maybe he's like, it's totally possible that he just became a different person, you know? He's just kind of put his past behind him, his criminal activities, and he swore an oath to not only the law of Mexico, but to God himself, you know, herself, they self, themselves. I don't know. You know, maybe he was fighting with a moral compass pointed in the right direction. That's up here. To the big G. Big G in the sky. Man in the attic. I also noticed in the video here that Jim is handing down this man's sentence. Mr. Krasinski is such a dynamic actor. He really puts himself in his roles. Like, I'm just waiting for him to look into the camera at any second and just give a little... Oh my god, dude. Like, imagine he has, like, buddy cops, like, friends that he's been, like, hanging out with for, like, the past, like, 15 years. It's like, yo, Jerry, you remember Antonio? Yeah, that guy from the Sunday barbecue with the wicked red-skin potato salad? Turns out he's a murderer, a wanted fugitive. Who would have thought? An angel, a sweetheart. I know. Company barbecues will never be the same without Antonio there. I really think. Like, come on, man. There's no way. My thoughts on this are so scrambled. Like, how he became a police officer in the first place, it blows my mind. It doesn't make any sense. There's no way. Like, if this police agency or this department runs any sort of background check, then they would know that he would, unless he used a fake identity. I guess that is a possibility, because if he's evading the country, he's probably going to take every appropriate measure to make sure that he doesn't get caught in the long run. So I'm sure he had some kind of trick up his sleeve, or this police department is just really bad at checking their officers' backgrounds, man, because you can't have people.
Marshals have now arrested a man known as the Devil in a Hamilton killing from 20 years ago. They say the suspect was actually working as a police officer in Mexico. Antonio Riano.
This man's nickname is the Devil. Oh my god. That's terrifying. Could you imagine having any confrontation with this man at all in the past 20 years? He literally has zero fucks to give, especially where he is right now, or not where he is right now, where he was prior to August 1st, before this, you know, situation took place where they came up like, hey, we got you, and he's like, oh, you got me. And this mugshot right here is just the epitome of evil. This man is staring directly into my soul, and he is not letting go. Like, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. I'm gonna wake up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat, panicking, and seeing those eyes, watching me, haunting me. You know, all jokes aside, you can clearly see that this woman is very much still affected by what happened to her well over 20 years ago when I was just a little boy. So I'm glad to see that this guy was caught, and that this woman can maybe rest a little bit more peacefully at night, knowing that the man responsible for her husband's death is now facing justice, right? We can be happy about that. It sucks to see her in an emotional state like that. No one likes to be in that kind of place. But at least there is some kind of closure to this, you know, out of all the end of the situation. What a name too, Antonio Riano. Man just looks like the most evil person ever. I mean, I don't know, he could be a sweetheart, but based off of his charges, he doesn't sound like too much of a nice guy. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that story with you guys, because I just thought it was really interesting how somebody in modern times can be on the run for such a serious charge for so long, especially like in America. Where he fled to, though, he probably thought he could get away with it, given like how the system kind of works down there, generally speaking. I don't know where exactly he was. This is the most interesting case I've definitely read up on in a while, and I just wanted to kind of chew your guys' ear off about it. I don't know, let me know your guys' thoughts about the whole situation and what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe, it's free, and I'll see you next time.